Thank you, Councillor Berard, and he did keep to his 2 minutes. And just for the record, Rotherham constituency won't be going into Sheffield. If the boundary changes go through, it'll be 2 Sheffield wards that will be coming into Rotherham's 5 wards. And it will be called Rotherham Sheffield constituency. I just thought, just clarify that for colleagues. Can I next call on leader of the opposition party in Sheffield, Cllr Shafaq M, please. Who's also going to stick to 2 minutes.
Thank you, Jenny. I'm suffering from a sore throat, so I'll see if I can make it as brief as possible. Thank you, Cllr, for your invitation, and thank you everyone else who's organised this. It's always a pleasure to be back here at Orient Express. I, for my part, yes, as Jenny introduced me, I lead the Lib Dems in Sheffield, but I actually live in Tinsley, so it's almost on the borders with Rotherham itself, and quite often Rotherham town centre is closer to us than Sheffield town centre is. But I think, you know, we've talked up this relationship between Sheffield so much. Now the Boundary Commission's realised that we need to bring these 2 places together, and now we're, you know, thinking how we're going to distance ourselves from the 2, because I know it's gone down really great in Rotherham being with Sheffield, but similarly I think the 2 MPs may have different opinions, Mr Blunkett and Mr McShane. But, you know, regardless of whatever the Boundary Commission proposes, I think the communities have always been together. We've shared our industrial past, the steelworks. You know, Magna did stop at Tinsley, it carried on all the way along the steelworks through the Cliff corridor, and that's something that's united us always. And I think, you know, we've had our disagreements. I know we can argue with Roger about this road that he keeps on wanting to build through some playing fields that we own, but, you know, we can always have those little arguments, and we'll continue to have those arguments about where we think they ought to build those roads. But, you know, in a sense, our economic prosperity in the future is with Rotherham. The things we do in Sheffield cannot happen without some element of support from Rotherham, and similarly some element of support has to happen from Sheffield for Rotherham to go forward. We can't work in isolation, and I know at first hand how, despite our political differences, and I know prior to May that we used to have around the South Yorkshire leaders there, and then Roger and Steve Houghton. Been announced, and the potential for jobs will mean that more and more we as two you know, councils, Rotherham and Sheffield, will have to continue to work closer together if we are to succeed. So once again, Cllr, thank you for your invitation, and I hope that's 2 minutes, Jenny. Thank you.
Very good.